know, I'm Matt Forde. I'm 26 years old, and in that relatively short amount of time, I've been very interested in politics. I've got to say, I've lived and worked in a lot of cities across Britain, in the north, in Wales, in Scotland and in the Midlands where I'm from. I've never seen anything like this before. So it's actually quite an exciting thing to be at. The idea that you can pack a venue in a busy city with people who, some of you are clearly sceptical about what politicians say, some of you here clearly to support the values as represented by the parties up here, I think is quite a special night. I think Bill deserves a lot of credit, I have to say, for organising this. It's something unique. And one of the things that I hope we'll share in this room is a certain amount of distaste for the way that, not just the way politicians behave, but actually on the other side of the coin, the way that the media portrays politics and the way the media makes politicians behave. And I think most of us who are fair-minded have to accept that the advent of spin doctors and messages and sound bites is actually largely in reaction to the way that the media has treated politicians for a long amount of time. It's nice to be in a room with people who clearly disagree with a lot of what politicians say, but actually respect them as people as well. I think that's something missing from current political discourse. With that, I'm going to take them on in turn, just to press them on a couple of things, and we'll put them on the spot a bit more, but with respect, of course. Well, Maria, I have to say, you come across very well and very decent. It's very strange for you to be as a representative of the Tory party. You had made the point that the Tory party had changed because some of the candidates were so-called ordinary people.
I'm a fan of Margaret Thatcher and I make no apologies for that. But she didn't come from... Well, no, you might hear. That's what I'm saying is she is from the old Conservative Party and she was not from a posh upbringing. She was a grocer's daughter and that was the old Conservative. So just because you're from a wealthy background and went to Oxford or Cambridge does not mean that you haven't changed and that you're part of the new Conservatives.
You talked about your time working in the NHS as a nurse and you told the story of the patient on the trolley that wanted to go to the toilet. How would a Tory government solve that problem? No, not specific. I don't want specifically of people needing to go to the loo. It's actually insolvable. It's going to carry on for a long time. Does the Tory party really have the answer to that? Seeing as they have, I think, for the last 12 years opposed nearly every single penny spent on the NHS.
That's the point, is that it isn't about money, it's about what you do with the money. And there's too much bureaucracy, there's too many top-down tiers. Now, I don't know if many of you have heard of Agenda for Change, which is supposed to be the huge new pay structure for the NHS that would make staff feel more valued. It was a huge industry of itself. Each hospital had its own Agenda for Change department with a manager, with a secretary, with an office, with an assistant. That cost the NHS billions. And do you know something? The frontline staff got very little of a pay increase out of that.
Thank you, Maria. Ladies and gentlemen, Maria Caulfield. Thank you very much. It all sounds very good, and you talk about promoting small businesses, which is something really no one can disagree with. In policy terms, what does that actually mean?
Well, I'll give you a perfect example of what it means. It means supporting the idea of keeping on James Street much more smaller cafes, independent cafes, not going down the route of Starbucks, for example.
Okay. I'm not clear how you do this.
Okay. Well, there's a planning authority that can decide whether or not to give the planning go-ahead to a new Sainsbury's or a new Starbucks or whatever. So it's about the type of planning you have. Okay. It's about, looking perhaps at giving rebates to smaller businesses to try to make sure that they can have a vibrant future in the city as well.
So would you ban all multinationals from Brighton?
No, I don't think we ban all multinationals from Brighton, but we would certainly not want to see a situation where there are lots and lots, more and more multinationals coming into Brighton. And I think we'd want to be able to say that one of the things that makes Brighton so special is the huge diversity of different shops.
Your candidate in the recent Goldsmith by-election specifically ruled out cooperating with anybody else because she didn't want to pollute her green purity. But that is not going to work in a proportional representation system. So could you explain that? I mean, are you going to be pure green or slightly brown or what?
Well, I think we're going to negotiate with parties that we get into power with over a common set of priorities, and provided that there can be agreement between those parties, then absolutely that's what you have to do to get things done, and that's what we do in the European Parliament.
Caroline, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Cheers. You're probably in the most difficult position of everyone tonight. Having to defend a Labour government that, to most people, feels like it's on its last legs. Does the Labour Party now, in Gordon Brown, have the leader it needs for the next 5 years?
Yes, I think he is in terms of what he's done around breaking poverty history internationally, very recognised for that as well. Someone who really understands, actually, I'm afraid, the technical, difficult detail of how do you reach those people who need the most.
So
no, he's not going as far as I would like.
The people who needed to reach the most, that he invented a new 10p tax band for?
Yes. Which he did, yes.
And that was, he then had to repeal it?
Yep.
I mean, this is a guy who...
Well, welcome to the real world. It's very challenging how you balance those different pressures. You know, there were a lot of people also turning around saying, actually, it won't make a difference if you move away from that it will help business employ more people. Yeah, of course it was handled badly. I wouldn't pretend for a minute. I think it was the wrong decision, being quite open about that. And frankly, actually, the parties put it out there and said, sorry, we got this wrong. We actually put that on our leaflets. Not something that gets recognised by the media, of course.
What do you think Labour has to do between now and the election to sort of convince people that actually there's a positive benefit to voting for Labour?
I think we started to see it out of the conference season this time round. We started seeing Labour starting to talk about...
Oh, this lady said I was a stooge. I'd just like to say that I'm not a stooge. These people are stooges. No. They're involved clearly in Conservative politics. Well, and I'm just...
I think, to be fair, I think there's a mixture of people here who are clearly members of political parties. That's fine. Some people are independent. It's exactly that sort of event. It doesn't matter where you're from or who you support. This is about talking about issues, no matter what, what hue you are.
And, I'd be the first to express frustration that we seem to be a little bit lost. And it's not surprising. We had a government dealing with massive problems internationally. But to turn it to vote-winning domestic issues was tough. And to get that across, I do feel we have momentum now, the next 6 months, to actually produce a really good platform for the next election.
Okay, we're right on the button there for Simon Burgess. Thank you, Simon.
Thank you.
He said that it's been a great 50 years for Liberals. Without even having a Lib Dem government, it does beg the question, what is the point in the Lib Dems?
Well, we're in control or in part control in many counties across the country, and as somebody suggested earlier, there's every chance that we will be partly in control after the next general election.
In the situation that there would be a viable Lib-Lab coalition government, a viable Lib-Con coalition government, how would it be justifiable that the representatives of around 20% of the electorate were deciding the direction the country were going?
Well, the thing about coalitions is that all political parties are coalitions. In our system, the coalitions are made before the election because that's the only way to win power, and most politicians are interested in power. In a system of PR, as we have in the European Parliament and so on, the coalitions are made after the election, and that, to me, is much more honest.
Thank you very much. Who in this room, and please only cheer once, would vote for the Green Party at the next general election? The Labour Party at the next general election? For the Conservative Party? And for the Liberal Democrats? I think it's fair to say that the Greens, in terms of noise, won it tonight. You should really give the largest round of applause tonight for the politicians who have come and, I think, all answered your questions as straight as they can. Maria Caulfield from the Conservatives, Caroline Lucas from the Green Party, Simon Burgess of Labour, and Paul Chandler of the Lib Dems. Thank you very much.